couple pieces of vocabulary. We got the terminal side and reference angles. The terminal side of an angle just means where does the angle finish its rotation. And we always start here. This is the initial side. Okay, that's the initial side. That's 0 degrees. That's how we would draw an angle of 0 degrees. We have an angle of 315 degrees, and the way we rotate angles is we rotate counterclockwise by convention. So this would be a 90-degree rotation. This is a 180-degree rotation. This is 270. So 315 lands us somewhere right here. And you draw the terminal side by starting from the origin and making a line through that terminal point. Okay. So this is the terminal side. It's in quadrant 4, right? Because we label our quadrants 1, 2, 3, 4 in math. So it lands us in quadrant 4. And the reference angle is the angle that's made, that's left over with the angle that's made with the x-axis, I should say, not what's left over. It's the angle that's made with the x-axis. So here, like if you draw a triangle that connects your terminal side with the x-axis, the angle that's made inside here is a 45-degree angle. And that's because 315 degrees is 45 degrees shy of a full rotation of 360 degrees. So I took a full circle, I took 360, and I subtracted it by 45. And now we can do some trig now that we have that angle. We can find out what sine of 315 is using special triangles that we can memorize. There's 2 special triangles that we should really memorize so that we know exact trig values. This is the 45 triangle. If you call the hypotenuse 1, then this is square root of 2 over 2, and this is square root of 2 over 2. Okay, so that's just a triangle that we're not really deriving right now. We're not coming up with where square root of 2 over 2 comes from. You could do it using the Pythagorean theorem because both sides are the same. But this, if we memorize these trig values, it'll help us because now we have a 45-degree angle. If we call the hypotenuse 1, then this is square root of 2 over 2, negative, and this is square root of 2 over 2. And notice I put a negative sign in this one because look, we're below the x-axis. Like this would be 0, negative 1, right? When you go down on the y-axis, you enter the negatives land. So it's important that I put the negative there. Now we can answer sine of 315 now that we got that triangle labeled. Sine is opposite of your reference angle. Divide by the hypotenuse, which is just 1. So if you divide by 1, it's the same thing. So sine of 315 is the negative square root of 2 over 2. And if you do cosine 315, that's the adjacent divided by the hypotenuse. So the adjacent is square root of 2 over 2, positive, right, because we're going in the positive direction on the x-axis, and then divide by 1. Okay, you can do the same thing with radians. Remember, 2 pi is a full revolution of a circle. So 7 pi over 4, and maybe it helps to convert degrees. The way I tell students to convert from radians to degrees is cut the pi out, and then multiply by 180. So 7 times 180 divided by 4, that's a 315-degree angle. So this one's actually going to have the same trig values. Okay, 7 pi over 4, that lands you here, where 315 degrees is. And then we're going to get the same reference angle. It's going to be 45 degrees. You could put it in radians, pi over 4 if you want, though. And so that means it's going to have the same dimensions, so sine and cosine will be the same. And remember, if you're given tangent too, tangent is just the opposite over the adjacent. So the opposite's negative square root of 2 over 2 from this triangle down here, and the adjacent is square root of 2 over 2. So tangent of 315, these are going to cross cancel, and you have a negative divided by a positive. That just makes a negative 1. And then I don't know how much this will help. This might be too much information right now. But tangent of an angle, since it's opposite over adjacent, tangent is the same thing as whatever you get for sine divided by cosine. Okay, you can just stick with the definitions of tangent. It's the opposite over the adjacent if you're having trouble with the trig so far. That'll come in handy later on in the course you're working on.